Today I'm going to be talking to somebody who's recently returned from Xinjiang, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Barrett channel, welcome to another video. If you haven't been here before, my name's Lee. I run this channel with my son Ollie. We cover opinion, we cover food and travel, and we cover technology, so something for everybody. As I said earlier, we're going to be talking to a guy who's just returned from Xinjiang. Xinjiang's a really hot topic at the moment, so let's get started. And this is the guy here I'm going to interview, Noel. Welcome.
Hi, Barrett.
Yeah.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Noel. So, you've recently returned from Xinjiang.
That's right, that's right.
When did you return? When did you get back?
I came back on the 5th of April, which is a Monday night. Yep. I went on the 2nd of April.
So you had 3 full days there?
It's a 4-day, 3-night expedition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a pretty tight schedule.
Very tight, very tight.
Okay. Now Xinjiang's a really big area, right? So which parts of Xinjiang did you go to?
I had gone to Urumqi.
Urumqi is the capital, right?
I got to check that one actually.
Okay.
I would think so because it's a very modernized place. And then Kashgar and Hotan.
Okay. And so Kashgar and Urumqi are big cities, and Hotan is a sort of smaller, more rural area, is it?
I would say Kashgar as well is not as big as Urumqi in terms of its development.
Okay, and as you know, there's especially from the Five Eyes countries, there's a lot of allegations being thrown at Xinjiang. Is that the reason you went there, to go and see for yourself, to see if possibly some of those allegations are true or not?
Well, they say that if you have not been there, you shouldn't really talk about it.
Well, I guess that's the point, yeah.
So that's why I went there with Fernando from Fumube. So we had a chance to go, and I went simply to qualify me to speak a little bit on the subject. That's all. Yeah,
I think that's a fair comment. So tell me a little bit. So you first arrived in Urumqi. You flew to Urumqi.
Yes.
So tell me how it was when you arrived. How were you? You know, did you feel okay there, or did you feel nervous or worried?
So we took the flight from Shenzhen to Urumqi in the morning. Arrived 5.5 hours later.
So it's a 5.5 hour flight.
Yes, it's a 5.5 hour flight.
Just shows you how big China is,
yes,
right?
It is. It is.
It's huge.
Yeah. I had a good fortune. Well, we had a good fortune that during the flight, it was relatively clear skies. So I managed to take a lot of aerial shots.
Oh, nice.
Out of the window.
Cool.
So I can basically, you know, be having some aerial shots to back up what's actually going on in the region. So again, you know, from the aerial shot, you don't really know what's going on. You don't know what it is unless you're down there. You can't really, and you can only speculate what those things are.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a big misconception. You get a lot of Westerners that they all, you know, some of these what they call investigators saying, "Oh, here's a satellite image," but what they don't realise is in China that a lot of people who work at a factory, they also live on the premises in dormitories, and a lot of those places will have a security wall around them.
Exactly.
You know, and this is something I think a lot of Westerners don't understand, because in the West it's not common for you to live at the factory where you work, but it is pretty common in China. Yes. So okay, so you arrive in Urumqi airport. What were the procedures like at the airport? Because I mean, I know you're not Chinese, but you look Chinese and you speak Chinese. Right. So I guess you could have easily passed off as a mainlander, but Fernando was with you. Clearly doesn't look Chinese. So how did you find things at the airport?
So when we checked in, obviously there is a record of foreign passport boarding the plane in the manifest. So it goes to show you that, you know, whoever's running the show knows what they're doing. So the moment the plane arrived at the airport, we were actually called out, singled out to come out to do the registration first.
Okay.
So what they were doing was basically taking our information by seeing the QR code that we have, just recording our passport, date of entry into China, and that was it. That was it. So once that was cleared, then they allowed the rest of the plane to deplane, and then everybody else did the same thing. Everybody else had to show the QR code, because they're locals. They don't need to actually show the entry date because they're already in China. Right. So only the foreigners. So which is just two of us.
Okay.
All right. So once everybody is accounted for on the plane, then they allowed everybody to just go on their way. So
and then once you'd gone through that airport security, you were just free to go and do your own thing.
Free to go.
So what did you do then? What was the?
We proceeded to get a taxi to the local bazaar.
This is in Urumqi, right?
Yes, Urumqi, yes. So we went to the local bazaar to look at what's going on locally, right? Like a bazaar place where you have people, you have shops, you have food. So yeah, we went there and everything was basically, you know, a non-event. It's simple.
And if I said to you, so tell me, is Urumqi similar to other Chinese cities? Did you notice any big differences or big similarities?
Differences, definitely. It's not as developed as Shenzhen and Shanghai and Guangzhou. It's very much, I would say, like a suburban place. Okay. You feel like it's just developing. So there's many things that I've not seen a McDonald's there, by the way.
Oh wow!
I've only seen KFC.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. No
Starbucks.
No Starbucks.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
In fact, Western stuff is basically non-existent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all just local. All the Yanrouchuan, all the local food.
It's very land-based, isn't it?
You can't really find good coffee there as well.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Fermu B talking about a coffee, which is kind of funny on his live stream.
No coffee there.
And so from a point of security, like in Shenzhen, Shanghai, there are a lot of cameras. Was there also a lot of cameras in Urumqi? Would you say more or less than Shanghai or Shenzhen? I
would say there's more cameras in Urumqi, not just there, but in Kashgar as well, in Hotan. Everywhere you turn, almost every 100 meters, I'm not exaggerating, every 100 meters there's a set of cameras.
Okay.
And what's important I must note is that when you enter the bazaar, you have to actually go through facial recognition. So you've got to take off your mask, right? And then you have to put all your belongings through an X-ray before you enter into the bazaar, which is basically where you have your shopping and your food. See, because I think the bazaar is like a important area that you don't want people messing around. You know, you're not like outside. So once you enter something into like a basement subway, or at least it's a concentrated area, you have to go through this security. So there's only one entry and exit point. There's command and control.
Okay.
You don't just like go in anywhere you want. So,
sure.
But once you're in, it's free and easy. It's similar to going into Disneyland, right? You go into one you go into one area, and once you're in, you're free to go.
Okay,
it's like that.
Okay,
the way I see it.
I got you. But do you think generally security is tighter there than in other cities in China?
Security was the tightest in Kashgar, followed by Hotan, and then most relaxed in Urumqi.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yes. Why do you think there's that higher level of security?
Well, because Kashgar is the closest to the other countries, right? Neighboring.
So that's possible because you know there's a lot of speculation that there are people returning who do want to cause disruption in Xinjiang, and you know personally I think that if they have something like that as a threat, that they need to deal with it. I mean, I don't know whether you're aware, but previously to 4 or 5 years ago, there was a number of terrorists. I have a good friend who's from Xinjiang, and she's told me a number of times that there was a lot of nervousness then. But she says now when she's in Shenzhen, but when she returns home, she says she feels much more relaxed.
Yes, well, I think we all know about the riots back in the day, but since then till now, there's been no such thing. It's been safe. And on that point, I'd like to also add that even the locals that I come into contact with, I mean, I have a factory associates in Dongguan. Even they were telling me before my trip, oh, be careful, it's very dangerous there. So, because I think they don't know, they have not been there themselves. So even local Chinese
still
people
think it's dangerous.
Exactly. But when we're there, you have people from Beijing telling me that they're actually investing in Kashgar. You have lots of enthusiastic tourists from like Shandong, all over the place. There are tour groups going to Xinjiang for tours. When we came back, we actually were on the same plane as a tour group that a company just brought their staff over to Xinjiang. So it's
So do you actually feel that authorities have pretty much got the terrorism threat under control there?
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean that's the impression I get.
Yeah, I think so.
I've not been there, but from what people I've spoken to, people I know who've lived there, I get that feeling. Okay, so what else can I ask you? Let me ask you. Okay, so as a foreigner there, how did you get treated by the people? How did you find you got treated?
Well, I don't really look foreigner.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the thing. But because Fernando definitely looks foreigner, so
did you get mistaken as Chinese there?
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah.
Because there was one point where we were crossing a gantry, and they were. I think that's the first time they saw a foreigner for like a long time, because they were like you know, oh, what do we do? What do we do? And then they were like recording Fernando's details, and they actually forgot about me. And I actually went by without having to show any ID.
Actually, I have a story, and this was a number of months ago when COVID was much more of an issue here. We went to a small village in Guangdong to Meizhou, and we had a problem because they were concerned that for us, and actually it was our fault because normally we stay in hotels, but we're staying with a friend, so we didn't register at the police station to say we'd arrived. So again, obviously you have to do that when you travel to places.
Yeah, so back to your point, you know, definitely we were gathering stairs as we walked, you know, on the streets. You know, you'll notice that people are just looking at you. And like, you know, Fernando mentioned in his live stream, there was one point where the camera was actually just following us. It was so funny, like a movie.
But I think to a point you can understand that. I mean, because of the way foreigners or certain Western countries are talking about Xinjiang at the moment, I would imagine the authorities are very heightened about foreigners being there, wondering what the hell they're doing. And this kind of brings me on to the next question. You went there to take some footage.
Yes.
How did that go? Do you find you were openly allowed just to walk around with your camera and take footage? Do you have to do it covertly a little bit?
Oh no, I was taking pictures freely. Although of course there were some occasions where, well, this was experienced by Fernando. When he took a picture, the guy was telling him, "Don't take a picture." That sort of thing. So, but then
was that just a normal citizen guy?
That's what he told me. Yes, I didn't really see it.
Okay.
But he explained to me, and I guess that was a citizen guy. Yes, not police. Not police.
Because I mean that's fair enough.
The only police encounter was in Urumqi when we were trying to get the bus to the railway station. And I was actually doing some filming, and I saw the skateboarder. I did a video on that. After that, the police guy came over and said, "It's a young guy. What are you filming?" And we just explained we're just you know, doing our own vlogs. Then he was like, "Okay."
Oh really?
Yeah, it was like that. Yes.
Oh, wow.
He did come over to actually check it out. I mean, doing his due diligence, right? He can't be like, he's a policeman and he has orders to look out for such things, and he can't be like, "Oh, you know, I just turned a blind eye." So he went over, did his job, asked, "What are we doing?" And we explained, and he said, "Okay."
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's
because we weren't actually like doing very
like
sinister things. We were filming ourselves.
Sure, yeah.
So it explained itself, right? We were filming ourselves, and we explained the situation, and then he accepted the answer.
And did you talk to many people while you were there?
Yes, I tried to talk to as many people as I could, and I actually talked to a barista in a coffee shop. She's a Uyghur. I talked to a Uyghur man who owns a little stall in the ancient city of Kashgar. I have all that on video. I'll be putting it.
You're going to put that on your channel,
I'm going to put out the video,
Okay. Did you find people were quite open to talk to you, or?
Mostly are open. Again, there were many interactions. The one who was we had our lunch there. We actually took a picture together, you know. Another lady at a stall, when I was taking pictures of her, I'm not sure if it's her son or her staff. She was telling me, "Oh, don't take, because he's ugly, he's eating." But in the end, you know, I exchanged WeChat, and I actually sent her the photographs that I took. So I actually added about, I think, 3 or 4 WeChat from people in Kashgar and Hotan, I think. And only 2 of them deleted me after that, but the rest kept me on the friends list. So I'm actually friends with people in Xinjiang.
I think it is important to communicate and explain to people what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then they won't. And just one other interesting question is that there's a lot of the West think that they're trying to get rid of the Uyghur language. Now, my argument to that is that China are trying to get the whole country all speaking Chinese, Putonghua. So there's many people in Shanghai who previously couldn't speak Putonghua. There's many people in Guangdong who couldn't speak Putonghua, but now they're teaching it in all the schools.
Yeah.
Did it appear to you that they're trying to get rid of the Uyghur language?
I think this is similar to when Singapore was formed, and Lee Kuan Yew mandated that English would be the first language, and then every other race would learn their mother tongue. So that's why I knew Mandarin, is because I am Chinese and I had to learn my Mandarin. The Malays in Singapore had to learn their Malays, and similarly for Indians, they got to go for their Tamil classes.
Yes.
So I think it's the same is happening in Xinjiang, where one country needs to learn the main language, which is Putonghua.
Yes.
And then you can go and practice your own Shanghainese and whatever.
Yeah, well, I see this all over. It's like, I have a friend who's got a young daughter. Her first language is Putonghua, but then she speaks Cantonese because she's from Guangdong. And then thirdly, she's got her own like area language, which is Kejiawa. So, you know, but at school, she's taught in Mandarin. Her parents speak to her in Cantonese, and some of her friends. So, you know, and it is a good idea, because previously a lot of these people couldn't communicate. You know, there's a lot of the older generation here, as you know, that can't speak to each other, because these might speak Shanghainese, they speak Cantonese. They've got no uniform language.
Exactly.
But having, you know, bringing Putonghua into the equation, that everybody can then speak to each other, which personally I think is the right thing to do.
Exactly.
You know? So before we wrap up, Noel, is there anything else you'd like to sort of say and tell me about your trip?
Well,
are you glad you did it? Are you glad you went?
I'm very glad, even though it was very exhausting, but I'm glad I went there, because if I don't go there, I have no right to talk about it. So. Okay.
And we can look forward to the videos coming on both yours and Fernando Furbumi's channel, right?
Yes, that's right.
And that's great. So I'll leave a link to your channels in the description of the video. And I'd like to thank you for joining me this afternoon to do that, and I appreciate that. So I hope you enjoyed that chat with Noel. Please go to either his channel and or Furbumi's channel, because they're both going to have videos up there, if they've not already, all about their trip to Xinjiang, so please check them out. I'd also like to give a shout out to a guy in Guangzhou called New Moves, who's also been to Xinjiang, so have a look at his channel. I'll put the channels in the description below. And if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you do like the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. But anyway, as always, for now, take care.